Rolling.
Alright, all praises to Yahweh,
Hashem
Yahushua,
Hashem Harakal Kadash.
Double
Double
honors
honors
to
to
apostles and elders, great most honorable well, and shalom to the hopeful elect.
Shalom, shalom.
Yeah, you wanna read or
Up to you.
I'll read. Revelation 17:1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying, we're continuing on with what we, done last week, Revelations breakdown, and this is Revelation 17. Revelation 17:1. And there came there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying, unto me come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Alright?
Yeah, that great whore. That's talking about America. And it's what is personified as a whore, as a harlot, as a strumpet, as a slag. Because why? That's the nature of how America has been utilized and how it's basically been pimping out, all this lifestyle philosophies out to the whole world, man. Or whoring, everyone's gone. Or whoring, everyone's done business with it. Which, it's going to go into. You got something?
Yeah. This is a quick one. Nahum 3:4. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favoured harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts.
That same whore, man.
That's how she's whoring.
Mm-hmm.
By selling them through her
witchcrafts.
Yeah, doctrine. You got something?
Yeah. Oh. Oh, right. I'll mix that up. No. Okay, yeah. Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks, make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So yeah, that door of Babylon, the legs been made bare. The nakedness has been on display. America's been put on display. Like, it's always been that same whore, man, that same harlot this whole time. And it's over time, all the layers have been peeled back to reveal the nature of America. How it's, essentially from its inception, been the same thing, man. All those lies and dreams that sold of, the land of the land of the brave, home of the free, or whatever the fuck they say, is essentially all lies. It's just a whore utilized to mess up the world. Might as well continue.
Revelation 17:2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with her wine with the wine of her fornication.
Yeah, all these nations on the whole earth, they've all been doing deals. They've all got business. They've all got ties to America, and that's how everyone's able to do well. And these things, that's why it's like, and it's not just the business; it's also the philosophies, man. Let me read this. Revelation 18:2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. That's the role America served. You know, you deal with America, you get the monetary benefits, you get to deal with all the delicacies, you get to fuck with all the wisdom, their technology, certain things. But then what? Also the fornication, the philosophies, man. All that bugged out shit, man. You start having, homosexuality, alphabet people, all this multiplying within your lands. These things get pushed on them, and you get that whole Hollywood vibration getting pushed on them, where it's pushing all the usual wickedness that America pushes, man. Women's lib, girl power, all these different things. So you end up in the same position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Jeremiah 1 and 13. The word of the Lord came unto me again. Came unto me the second time, saying, What seest thou? And I said, I see a sieving pot, and the face thereof was toward the north. So the sieving pot is basically another way of saying mixing pot, right, or melting pot, sorry, which America is that land to the north. That's where all the nations basically came down to and mixed all together. So that's how that scripture in Revelations 18 that the brother read really came to pass, because a lot of nations sent their people over there, and then also through their diplomats and their governments made an allegiance or made some form of business deal with America. So read, you got more?
Yeah, no, go on.
Yeah, Revelation 17 and 3. So he carried me away in a spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet coloured beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet colour, and decked with gold and precious stone and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of the abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Yeah, so that's the whole basically riding, what do you call it? Esau's power structure, man. That same Roman system that basically comes back. That Esau's power structure that he's always had persisted through, because it says what, the scarlet coloured beast. That's basically that red dragon, man, which is Esau Edom.
Let me quickly read this. It's Isaiah 1 and 18. It says, Come now and let us reason together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. So yeah, basically that shows you that sin is acquainted with, the sins of Israel were acquainted with what? The colour red. Alright, which Edom is actually named after, funnily enough. The man of sin is actually named after the number, the colour red, alright, out of one, alright. So it says, they shall be as, yeah, so that's the point. Even the word crimson goes back to criminal. And that's how you get the saying, the idiom, to be caught red-handed, alright? And when you're embarrassed or you're caught like shameful, and you're an Edomite, so-called white person, what happens? You get a shot of blood, a rush of blood to their cheeks, or they become red with shame, kind of thing. That's that red hand. Reading on, it says, verse 4, and a woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet colour, verse 5, and upon her forehead was a name given, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth.
Yeah, talking about America, man. America is that Babylon the Great, that great city, that great merchant city that made everyone rich. Because as far as in this modern times, you go back to the land of Babylon now. That's not the great merchant city. That's not where all these different shipping lanes are leading to. That's not where the bulk of the global economy leans. That's all on America, man. And that's what that mother of harlots and abominations. Guy in America, what kind of filth do you have going down? You've got every form of act averse to the scriptures being pursued and empowered and emboldened by the government, man. Everything's being backed. You had witchcraft come back in a big way. Remember growing up as a kid, like you just in the 90s they had like Charmed, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, what's the other one with Sarah Michelle Gellar? Buffy the Vampire Slayer, had Craft,
Blade
had the Witches
well.
of Eastwick, Blade as well going into that. What's the other one? Craft, Witches of Eastwick, then there's another one I can't fucking think of. Wow, I've got the image in my head. Hocus Pocus as well.
You made a point.
But yeah, you had all these. That's what now it's a super big thing, man. Everyone's getting into star signs. Everyone's getting into all these things. Having so-called the function of a man and woman being thrown in the bin altogether. You know, a man can say he's a woman can say she's a man. For just flip everything up. You can have kids when they're like, you know, gonna be 13 and say, okay, you're now just gonna start pumping testosterone or pumping estrogen into your system, and actually you're a woman or you're a man. It's funny because there's a what do you call it? I think German pop star where if you wouldn't even know, because I think they started like doing hormone replacement therapy when they're like I don't know like 13 or some shit. But like voice, the way they look, everything, you would think as a woman. Little did you know, but that's
Probably castrated before the onset of puberty.
yeah, because it's like I'm gonna show you after. Can't remember the name. I think
I should
something.
listen to a podcast going into that actually about the defining the differences with testosterone.
Oh,
in
with
bodies.
the different oh well, yeah.
Like how it like even they said like when you're born as a boy, there's a small like a mini when you're newborn,
puberty when you're born. Yeah.
So and then
I
it's like
listened
you-
to the same one.
Madness, isn't it?
Yeah. He said that you just get when you're very young. Like when you're born.
And that's where you have that rough and tumble, that very boisterous type of way of being, because that little shot you get as a young man, and then you get
like
that.
it's sealed fully when you get.
Yeah. And that's why a woman won't have the same kind of effect, because it won't. Yeah. But there's the other point on this verse. When you go into the Hebrew, the numeric value of this verse is 666 basically. 666 basically. You gonna read at the same time?
No, go on.
Verse 6, and I saw a woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Yeah. America destroying Jake, man. Making merchandise of Jake. Bringing hella death and destruction onto Jake. The northern and southern kingdom. That's why it's drunken with the blood, man. And then, what you getting? Oh, okay.
Don't worry.
No, I was gonna...
We get.
Numbers.
When are you gonna get that?
Yeah, that's what I was checking. Numbers 35:33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Defile not therefore the land which ye shall inhabit, wherein I dwell. For I, the Lord Yahweh, dwell among the children of Israel. Yeah? Blood defiles the land, and it can't be cleansed except by the blood of him that shed it. And that's why it says what in Revelation, so he that killeth with the sword must be killed with a sword. That's how the Lord had it set up. And Esau's pursued that route. That was a blessing that he got. That's how much of how caught in the web he was. The blessing, the means by which he was going to get his rulership was going to be by the sword. But then it's like, yo, he that kills with a sword must be killed with a sword. That's all you bring back on yourself. So regardless, Esau's rulership was always, it basically set its own demise by how he got there. It's the same thing with America, the land of America. How is that land claimed? By blood. How is it maintained? By blood. How is it built up? By blood. So what? That how the house is going to be cleansed? By blood. Might as well get yours. You getting this one?
What was it about? I don't remember it. Come to me now. After my spirit will. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. Yeah, so John marveled after the image of the woman, showing you how beautiful she was. And it's kind of funny because technically all of us marveled after the woman. And how is that? Because huh?
Off in the world now?
That's it. Yeah, all in the world, because there was what? A falling away that had to come first. So all basically, fell away and then we came back. Alright? And really, let me actually read this because it personifies everything that the Lord just said in this. It says, wherefore didst thou marvel? And this is the point. I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and the 10 horns. And really that's what it was, the mystery being told unto us. It really cool kind of, drew us away from that.
Because
beholding her.
gone. Because John actually saw the beast but had it broken down, but then still didn't get it. But it's like, what? Now we're in a time where, like it says in Daniel 12, knowledge shut up the book, but until the time of the end, and then what? Knowledge shall be increased. Now's that time where knowledge has been increased, because there's prophecies for days.
And it's actually funny because he did, prior to this, he actually told John, look, you shall prophesy before many nations.
Yeah.
Once again, basically. So it's a book of verse 8. So it says, the beast which thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names are not written in the book of life for the formulation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And here is the mind of which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, one on which the woman sitteth.
Yeah, so the 7 mountains are the governments. And that's going back to the what you call the European Union, I believe. EC.
Oh, not the European Union.
Oh,
NATO. Well, not
Or
even
E-
NATO, but the kingdoms of Edom.
yeah. EU and NATO. Combined powers.
So outline them actually.
Yeah. Oh, what?
The actual nations.
Oh, what? Germania, the ancient ones?
Actually, yeah, the ancient ones.
Because I think it's the ancient ones first, and then go to the 10th.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, Gaul, Spain, Greece, Rome, and I believe Britain. Is that 7? No. I feel like that's 6. Germania Major, Germania Minor, Spain, uh, Gaul, Britain, and that's 5. Greece and Spain, Greece, Rome. Yeah, Germania Major, Germania Minor.
Yeah.
France,
Romans,
Greece,
the French,
Rome,
Spanish, Germany,
France.
the British, the Greeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
7.
Okay. No rustiness. So reading on it says, and here is a mind of which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, and there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is yet to come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So you want to read it again, and you go break it down.
Yeah.
Verse 10, and there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen.
Yeah, the 5 that are fallen was what?
Germania
Major,
Major,
Germania
Minor,
Minor.
Greeks,
The Greeks, the Franks.
the Spanish and French. They're the 5 that are fallen. Then it says, 1 is, and 1 is,
The Romans.
and the other is not yet come,
Um,
the British. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. That's during the time of imperialism, the British Empire, when they said the sun won't sit on the British Empire. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th. Right?
and, well, read the
Read it again, yeah?
No, just read, and the next verse as well.
And is of the 7 and goeth into position.
Yeah, so that's talking about America, because what it says of the 7th, you know, the mother of America was Britain. They basically birthed it, and then what it says, it goeth into position, goeth into destruction, because that's the main focal point of the judgment. And then what? We'll go.
Verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings.
Yeah, the 10 kings.
Is the EU.
The EU, the 10 nations that started it in 1958.
West Germany, Luxembourg, etc., etc.
I'd have
so on and
to
so
get
forth.
that list up.
I've got the list right here.
Bit easy. I think I had it, but I closed it.
It says Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Spain and Portugal, England and Ireland, West Germany. So reading on it says
Our 10 kings, which that's also 10 kings.
which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour of the beast.
Yeah, so that's the union they made. They basically ruled as kings, because that's essentially how the EU exercises power, but they're not actually kings. And it says, what, 1 hour with the beast, which like one day with the Lord is 1,000 years. So I believe 1 hour is 42 years. So it's until the year 2000, from 1958. So since then, Esau's on borrowed time.
So yeah, it says these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
Yeah, everyone's basically back in the US, man, as the main one. What are you gonna get?
Can two walk together, at least they be agreed. James, right? No, not James.
Double check. I'm sure it's Amos.
Yeah, it's Amos. That's it. I'm grabbing another. You grab that, I'll grab another one. I read it last night, funny enough.
Amos. That's so weird. Can two Amos 3:3, can two walk together except they be agreed? Straight. And that's really what it is. And that's the thing as well. It says let me read. Daniel 2. Because
It's gonna go
Daniel.
into it, mind you.
Okay. Let me hold.
You can read it, yeah, it's okay.
Let me see.
But the reason why I grabbed it is because they agree. They all agree. They're all in one mind to do one thing.
God.
So they all have a same motive and ideal. Let me read on. So it says, verse 13, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. Alright? For he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, there are where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Right? So that even goes into it again. Brother went into some precepts. Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So they all agreed at a certain period to what give power unto the whore. But there's going to come a moment where they're going to hate the whore, and they're going to look to destroy the whore. You're going to get Daniel 2? Or you getting something else?
Okay, I'll get Daniel 2, but I wanted to get Obadiah first. Obadiah 1 and 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in it. So all these nations is they've been biding their time, really. Because as far as for them, they're all looking to basically take the top spot. And that's really how the spirit's been, even among Esau. They're in accord, but then they're looking for their chance to come in, and the Lord's basically going to put the spirit on them. Because why? They're all everyone's got reasons to feel slighted against America, and like America is a whore, man. It's a disposable. It's a pump and dump. You get what you want from it and leave. Okay. So, yes. So Daniel 2 and let's start from 41.
Try to get to the point.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of pots of clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it the strength of iron. For so much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So yeah, this now is that fractured kingdom, man, the 10 toes of iron and clay. And they're not cleaving. They're not in accord. And that's why all that so-called binding is going to break very easily. And then what? The kingdom's going to get set up. Like I said, not left to other people. basically going to be, hey, from Yahushua down, Israel ruling, man, starting with the elect. Yeah. You got more?
I got a precept.
Go on.
It's Sirach 13 and 15. It says, every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbour. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. What fellowship will have the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly, and this just hit me, man. That's really Esau turning on one another as part of the curses going on Esau. You know?
Yeah, that love.
That's part of that love going wax, because it says they all came together to give the beast power at one time, but it's like the lovers run dry,
Wax
basically.
cold,
Wax cold, and they're basically not looking at each other as like for like no more, and that's part of what's happened. What was the curse that serves to, because these words are true. But the curse that is part of us breaking the covenant is what? That would hate our brother. Our eye would be evil towards our brother. And that basically everyone against everyone, right? So reading on it says, what agreement is there between the hyena and the dog? And what peace between the rich and the poor? As the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat of slut. I went too far actually, but that was the point. That's why it even says the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. So Esau's wickedness now.
Esau doesn't have mercy in it, man.
Yeah, man.
You can see from how he deals with his own people, man. I remember back when I think it was Meghan and Harry's wedding. They were doing it in Windsor. Then they said, there was a guy that was just outside the front, some homeless dude, man. That Esau don't care for his own. Deuteronomy 30 and 7. And the Lord Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Yeah. So the time's going to come when the curses get put on the heathen. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing, all that amicability between Esau crumbling. You see his monetary system, all forms of his kingdom are basically losing their luster. Just as at one point, like it says for Israel, the Nazarites are whiter than snow. Like
the Edomites' toes were whiter than snow.
Fucking hell. Okay, yeah, go on. Okay, yeah, for real.
I wish I knew some old school songs.
Sleeping Beauty, man.
You know the Disney movies.
Yeah. Just start singing. All the nature just comes there.
Alright, so it says, verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire, right, with them ICBMs. For the Most High put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree. This is why it's happening, that they gave power onto the beast at one time. For the Most High put in their hearts, their minds, to fulfill his will and to agree, and to give her kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And a woman which thou sawest is a great city, is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
Cause yeah, that's these nations are basically maneuvering how the Lord designs, man. And that's the thing. Like I said, they're gonna hate the whore, make her desolate, and burn her with fire. Because that's the destiny. It says Proverbs 16:4, the wicked was made for the day of evil. Esau's purpose, that's the point of the whore. That's why it's, again I'll say it's a whore. It's got its utility, and that's why all these nations are gonna see it for what it is, man. And it said, "What the woman's a great sea which reigneth over the kings of the earth." What cities reign over the kings of the earth, man? What's the international language? What's the global reserve currency? What culture do you have permeated through everywhere? What's the main movie industry? You got hella movie industries. You got China's. You got Nollywood. You got Bollywood. You got all these. What are they even based off? That Hollywood, the original one. Anyway, everywhere. Even if you go, you might go like Japan's not called that. They had some hits back in the days. But them guys had the US occupying them, man.
Even Korean cinema was kind of ill as well.
Yeah, Korean cinema. Them guys hella occupied. Been
French
occupied from
cinema
the
as
Korean
well.
from the
French.
Korean War.
French
Cinemas. Yeah,
cold
French
as well.
cinemas popping.
But
But
it's all about-
everyone's like people don't fuck. It's funny as hell. People don't fuck with foreign films, but then they'll fuck with English. They'll be in Indonesia. They'll watch the English Hollywood films. They'll watch every Marvel flick that exists. But they ain't gonna fuck with some French shit. They ain't gonna fuck with them other countries.
You always hear like there's French films I've heard of that have a cult following, but that's about it. It's like
People-
even like
people-
Korean films like
Yeah, there's
Hard
like-
Boiled Korean, right?
I believe. Yeah.
There's like Hard
Yeah.
Boiled.
There's. I think there's an original and a remake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there's
there's-
another one time before that.
Well, the one for
Notebook as
The
well.
Departed as well was Internal Affairs. That's what Martin Scorsese
Okay.
based like The Departed off. It's like it's the same story, just in
Mhm.
the US. But it's like they've been killing it for a while. Until like Parasite, people didn't know that this cinema existed, or Old Boy maybe back in
Mhm.
the day. But that's it.
Old
'Cause-
Boy, that's the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hard Boiled, Old Boy. Yeah.
but that's everyone's minds. It's
Mhm.
jacked into the American system.
Mhm.
They're wearing jeans, they're eating burgers. Everywhere sells a fucking steak.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere on the planet Earth, they're gonna be selling steak.
Mhm.
Hilarious. But that's
And not that people there eat steaks, but it's the culture.
the America. They're gonna have steakhouses like
Yeah,
the whole
like
American
American.
themed
Mhm.
down south steakhouse.
Mhm.
They're wandering after the beast.
Brisket.
They're
All
gonna
that type of
Mac D's.
shit. Yeah.
Everyone, bruv, Mac D's is nuclear waste. Why? Like everyone on the globe is like, oh, you just want to make, bruv. I'm like, they're sprinkling addictive chemicals onto that noxious nuclear burger, man. The way people talk about that shit, they hate it and they still keep going back. But yeah, leave it at.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lord willing, next week we'll be back. Hopefully you're edified. All praises to Yahweh. Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Harakah Kadash. Don't want to see apostles and elders of the most honorable world. Shalom to hopeful elect. Most of the work, discerning truth. Shalom.